this is a first for these two people coming together. So my experience with these two singers, I've heard Annette Olson in Nightwish for her debut in that band with the Pendulum, whatever. It was my first experience with that band actually, and at the age I was, which was quite naive, I actually thought that album was pretty epic. Now I kind of realised that sonically it sounds quite impressive and huge, but on a musical talented level, there's actually not much going on. They've just kind of throw a lot of instruments in there, some decent vocals, and just make it sound big. But musically, none of them are that gifted with the instruments. So it is a bit bland. You don't get any great musicianship from guitars or drums. There's no real entertaining, interesting solos. There's just not much going on. As far as Anna herself, Tarja, who came before, was a far superior singer. The vocalist who came after Annette is also quite superior to Annette Olson. Annette is quite like a mediocre singer. There's nothing really special about her voice. It's just one of those like typical female voices, and she knows how to really use it to her advantage and sing. It doesn't have some massively operatic kind of style to it. There's nothing unique about it. It's just basically she's a female singer who just knows how to work her voice, and that's as good as she gets. As far as Russell Allen, I know a lot of people like this guy, but I've never been keen on him. In Symphony X, the musicianship in that is good, but when it comes to solos, all the guitarist does is just shred non-stop. There is nothing musical or melodic about the guy. He just likes showing off, which goes to tell me there's a lack of maturity or musicianship in his style. He just has a one-off thing and just beats it over the head to try and hide the fact that he's not that versatile. As far as the vocalist goes, Russell anyway, he's alright, but in Symphony X, it's the fact that this guy has a good voice, he has a decent range to him, he's very gifted. But in Symphony X, he likes to, on occasion, in the majority of songs, to just shout and yell bollocks. Because if you have a good voice, then a good musician would go into the studio and go, you know what, I'm not actually going to do that, because that is what a true musician does. Not use their God-given talent. Because, well, he's thick as pig shit, let's say. So I'm not too much of a fan of him because he has a good voice, but he seems to be incredibly dumb when coming to utilise it because he doesn't sing normally. He likes to shout and not actually sing. In this song, at least, he actually does sing. He never shouts for the sake of shouting in a non-musical way. But this is a one-off song. So the rest of the album could be completely different. So whatever I think of this, good, nor bad, or mediocre, doesn't mean that the rest of the album is going to be anything like that. It's just this one-off song. Now, as far as Russell Allen goes, as I say, he has a good voice and he doesn't actually shout in this song. But the problem I have with him is he has a voice which a fair few singers do have. A lot of people say this guy is an incredible vocalist, there's nothing like him. It's like, well, technically I think there is. I think he has a voice similar to Ronnie James Dio when Ronnie actually sings as well as this guy. Because this guy enjoys shouting, Ronnie never does that. Because he's smart. But them two have a very kind of similar style of voice and everything. As well as a fair few other singers. It's a voice that I don't think is overly unique. I do think it's a voice that if you actually kind of look around, you can find it fairly often. It is quite common, I think, in old school style of metal. So his voice doesn't really have that much of a uniqueness to it. It is a voice where it's just like, I've heard this kind of thing before, therefore there's nothing new or unique about it. It sounds good. It is singing. It is a good voice, but as far as something unique to really catch me and blow me away, well, no, because I've heard it before. When it comes to Annette Olson, again, the fact that when I talked about Tarja has an unbelievably powerful powerhouse of a voice and is incredibly operatic. So she has a very, very powerful, incredible voice. And then the singer in Nightwish who took after her, the names escape me, she kind of is the best of both worlds. She can do what Annette does, which is more of the clean kind of poppy style of voice, but she can also do operatic, but not to the same sort of level as Tarja, nowhere close. So she's kind of in the middle of these two. But as I say, as far as Annette goes vocally, her voice is basically just a typical kind of pop star voice. She sounds like a girl, she is a girl, and she knows how to sing. It's nothing operatic. She doesn't have a massive versatile range about her. It's just basically she sings and she stays in key. So there's nothing unique or special about it, but I do like her voice because it does actually work and she is singing and there is melody to it. Same with Russell Allen, even though his voice I think is getting a little predictable because it's a voice I've heard from others beforehand, so there's nothing unique about it that stands out. The fact is, these two singers are in fact singing, and there is melody to both of their voices. And because it is a man and a woman, there is a good contrast between them when it switches from Russell to Annette. And I rather like that because the two voices are very different. Russell is not going to be able to do what Annette does. He is not going to be able to sound like that, and if he did, it would be very, very weird. And if Annette was to sound like Russell, that would be quite freaky, if not terrifying. So there is complete two different shades in this, which gives a lot of contrast and a lot of versatile elements. And I like that, and then the music can kind of balance these two elements and do something unique for both of them to support that voice. Now, as far as this song goes, that's not exactly the case musically. The music doesn't really focus to Russell's strength, and then it deviates to focus more on Annette's strength. So musically, it goes sonically in two different areas to focus on these two versatile and completely different voices. Musically, everything just is very consistent and remains the same. It doesn't go more melodic and try and emphasize Annette's voice. It doesn't kind of go more powerful to push the power of Russell's voice. It doesn't do anything like that. Musically, when it shifts from Russell to Annette, there is no musically sonic difference. So musically, there's not a lot of versatility going on, which I think is a wasted opportunity because it means that musically there could have been a lot more elements going on and pushing more emphasis on each other's voice as well as musically, because musically it would start deviating to back up the different voices. So that kind of falls a bit flat. As far as just talking musically on its own accord, again, it's nothing overly special. There is no kind of short breaks to kind of give breathers and only come in and just hit a single note and have that note work very well. So there's no taking its time and really understanding each and every note and letting each and every note sing and play out. No, this guy's constantly just throwing out kind of power chord style of things. There's no kind of leads through the song. Everything is very basic in structure until you get to the solo. Now, as far as the solo goes, it is pretty good. There is a decent length to it. It has some showmanship to it. It has some kind of emphasis on melody too. He doesn't just kind of lose himself into just a complete showmanship of just whittling like crazy and loses all that musicality beneath him. So as far as the solo goes, it's good. It's not one of the flashiest things I've ever seen, and it's not one of the most musical things I've seen. It's just basically one of them solos where it's like, it's not great, it's not bad, it's just a good solo. He's done something of a showmanship style of thing, but he hasn't lost the musicality either. But he's not really, let's say, a master of either trades. He's just a jack of all trades. He knows how to do speed. He knows how to do the kind of softer, more musical elements. But he's not a master at any. Therefore, what it plays, it's basically just good, but nothing that really blows you away. As far as structure of the song goes, it is very basic. It's not progressive. There is non-shifting elements. The song doesn't progress and evolve and elevate itself to new levels. The song just kind of has its opening, and then you've got your kind of verse, your chorus, kind of solo bridge section, and then end on the chorus, and that is basically it. The only genius thing they do for changing things around is just changing the vocal placements. So with the first verse, Russell may have started, and then it goes to Annette. And then for the second verse, it would start Annette and then end in Russell. So when in the verse, the melody kind of starts shifting at parts, Russell will sing to that kind of rhythm. But Annette won't be there because it's just Russell. So when it comes round for the next time, you see Annette in that perspective. So it's good to kind of see the two take each other's different perspective to see what each other sounds like with the different music going on, to see which one's better and how they each sound in the different placements. But other than that, there's nothing really that huge about this song. There's nothing special about it. Like, the voices, they're fine. The solo's fine. But there's nothing great or that good about it. It's just basically, if I listened to it and someone was like, what do you think? I'd be like, yeah, it's alright. Anything else? Not really. It's just, yeah, it's alright. I ain't got a problem with it. But I wouldn't really go out my way to really listen to it. It's putting a score on this. It's probably 6.5. It is above average. It goes that step further, just with the good voices and a guitar solo. But as far as really doing anything unique or special or changing the game, because there's so many metal acts out there now that constantly are just copying each other. When a new act comes out, you need to have a signature sound. You need to stand out. You need something that you can call your own, instead of just like, yeah, this element is from this band, and this element's from this band, and this element's from this band, and they've just brought it together. That's not going to be good. You need something that is your own signature, where you listen to it and it's like, that is this band, and this band alone. No one else does that sort of thing. A hard feat to achieve, I know, because there's so many bands out there and so much has been achieved already and done. It'd be hard to really come up with your own identity. But as far as this band goes, I don't think they really went out there to really try and find their own signature and identity. They just went in with the basic formula of how to make a basic song, and they've just gone in and done it. They laid down the rhythm, they did the chorus, they laid down their vocal lines, they did the solo where the solo typically goes, and that is the end of the song. They haven't really thought about, where can this song go? How can we surprise the audience? They expect the song to go this way, but no, we're actually going to deviate this way and take them by surprise. There is nothing like that. And therefore, that is why it's a 6.5. It is just a good, very, very, very typical song. Hopefully, when other songs release and the album releases, they do something vastly interesting and work along with having two different voices, and musically they go in different sonically areas to back up these two distinct and different voices. But I'm not holding hope on it. I do think they're not going to really think about this or really try. I think they're just going to keep going in there, and it is going to come at it with the view of, she is Annette and has a good voice, and Russell, a lot of people see him as a god, so there's no real push or drive to try harder and better yourself when everyone keeps saying you are good enough and you've mastered everything. Why are you going to push and try when everyone is just going to accept whatever you do? It's going to make lazy writing. So, yeah, I'm strict. I'll say it the way it is. This song, they could have done a shit ton more with this, but decided not to. But people will like it nevertheless because it's just good voices and there is a guitar solo. Therefore, people will say that's perfect enough. We don't need anything else. But I'm a harsh critic. Therefore, they need to do more because this has been done loads before. There's nothing unique about it. Nothing makes this stand out. What makes this better than the thousands of bands out there? Nothing. There are other good singers out there. There are other guitarists who actually do solos. So what's your signature? What's your standout? Is it the fact that you're a good singer? Well, there's other good singers, so that's not your thing. The fact you did a solo, a shit ton of bands do solos, so that's not your signature or standout. There is nothing unique about this. And unless they find it, unfortunately, I think the album is going to be poor. Is it going to be received that way? Probably not. It's going to be probably highly received by fans of Annett and Russell. But if you're being honest with yourself, and the album is bland and there is nothing unique or triumphant about it. So that is it from me. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye.